Ollie, this time of year, I guess a lot of the organisation is winding down a little bit and looking forward to next year. You're very much still all go with holiday clinics and prospect camps on the go from a community perspective. We'll catch up on all that as a starter. What's the last sort of year been like for you and the organisation from a community perspective?
I think it's been an exploring year for us, I think, from a community point of view. We've really explored the opportunity to be more connected with our schools in our region. I think we've been out to 70 odd schools this year, which has been incredible. A point of really reconnecting with our community partners from a club point of view and association, and having 8,000 players come through our programs from beginners all the way through to the top end with our academy has been really amazing. And then putting in place our academy, I think, has probably been the cherry on top of what we've done this year, which has been probably a combination of our school partnerships coming together to bring sort of the talent from around the region here all into the Brisbane High Performance Centre and really share that with our community, which I think is really, really important.
Yeah, that certainly has been a big growth point and a big highlight, I guess, with Bullets is the athlete academy that's taken off really, I guess, over the 6 or 8 months. Do you want to touch on how that came to be in the first place and how it's got to where it is now?
Well, yeah, I think historically Brisbane has had an academy in the past, and I think over time those things change and what it is and how it is goes along various points of change along the way. For me, I thought we've got this wonderful facility here now at the High Performance Centre here in South Bank, really centralised, certainly for our Brisbane clubs and schools. That it felt like a waste that it wasn't being used to further develop athletes in our area, certainly from the under 14 to the under 19 age group. To have a professional grade facility on hand, open and available. As I said, it almost needed to happen. So building it was pretty easy. We knew we had the framework there. I think the first and foremost was building the connections, which comes through our school partnerships, and then knowing that there's a gap. Our players play a lot of rep basketball. They do play a lot of school basketball. But for us, it's about being able to provide them the gap period for those players of excellence, the ability to be able to play good basketball and practice and be involved in a high performance environment 12 months of the year, if possible. And I think it's been really, really successful. There's obviously a thirst for it within our community, and it's been great to engage with those players, but also it's been great to engage with the families as part of it as well, and the schools, and now the coaches that are coming on board as part of that.
And to the uninitiated, do you want to give, a brief explainer as to what the Athlete Academy actually is? Because it's not like you're playing games every weekend. It's very much focused on development and getting players better.
Yeah, I always talk about that we're in the business of development with an interest in winning. We don't play a lot of basketball games. We're not an academy that's out there applying their way in tournaments. I think we'll certainly look at that. For us, it's being a strong model of development for players, not just from a decision-making point of view, but from an individual skill point of view as well. And then also leveraging on what we have available here, the ability to do video, the ability to be in the gym from a strength and conditioning point of view. So for us, it's purely a development program, which I think is really rare. I think once you add in winning's a real complexity to the word development. We don't have to worry about that here. Winning we love, don't get me wrong, but we're not going to sell the ships to do it. And we've got the ability in here to just focus on their development purely.
And we've got 2 hubs now, with the one here in South Brisbane and also one on Sunshine Coast. So do you want to talk to how that one came to be? You're a busy man.
Look, I think Sunshine Coast was just a wonderful opportunity. I think, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And it was just, we spent some time up there on the Sunshine Coast, with our regional tour, made some great connections up there through the local associations and clubs. Then furthered that again with our game up at UniSC against Melbourne United. Again, you keep building these relationships as you go, and this great opportunity to embed ourselves at Sunshine Coast Grammar, a wonderful facility, one that the New Zealand national team used while they were out here. So, international grade facility, the chance for them to say, hey, look, we've got this space. If this is something you're interested in, we'd love to look at that. For me, it felt like a really neutral site. We know that there's a great bunch of clubs up there. The sport's really growing. There is a hotbed of talent up there as well. And so while it was probably, you could almost argue, a little early it felt right. And so the partnership felt really right as well to be in a place like that. And so, yeah, to put a stake in the ground and be up at Sunshine Coast, I think adds another element to our academy, and the ability only just recently to bring both academies together for a series of games, I think is wonderful. You know, now we're really starting to connect basketball in the region, not just in Brisbane.
Well, I was going to say exactly that. Obviously, the Bullets have the Brisbane prefix, but we are sort of proud to represent the South East Queensland region. So when we go down to the Gold Coast or up to the Sunshine Coast, it's sort of bringing everyone under that one umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the big thing for me with what we do. We're not just engaging what's 5 minutes from home. You know, it's about that wider reach. We know not every kid's going to get to a game, but for us, I think it's an opportunity for every kid to connect to who we are and what we can be.
And from everything you've seen over the past year, it might be from the regional tour that we did pre-season or the prospect camp that we got going on this week, how strong does the appetite feel for the growth of basketball in this region?
Oh, look, I'm really fortunate. I moved up here to Brisbane. I'm a transplant from out of state, and coming in here to Queensland, like the thirst for basketball is incredible at the moment, and you can see that on a Saturday morning at any local basketball stadium. You can see that when we put out a prospect camp, the kids that are looking for more development, they're seeking it. You know, they're not just waiting for it, they're actually out there seeking it and asking us for it. And it's great to be of benefit to the wider community, not just putting things out there hoping people will be involved. It's putting out really good quality product that people get great value from as well.
And organisationally, what are the ambitions from a community point of view for the Bullets over the next 6, 12 months? And what do you think we can get to in Brisbane widely?
I feel like we've done a lot. I feel like we've done so much just in the last 12 months alone. But I think for me, it's about really building really strong foundations with our academy now, really strong habits, continuing to integrate that academy with our professional team, not just the players moving into a professional ranks. I don't think we're yet from that point of view. I think we're definitely building that pathway, but I think it's bringing the players to be more involved, continue to have our coaching staff and a real synergy between the two. I think that's great for not only the players' development, it's great for our coaches' development, and I think it's great for the culture of everything we're doing here in the building. So I kind of see that building along. I can certainly see our academy from a growth perspective in the Sunshine Coast expanding just from a numbers perspective. I know we're heading out to Hervey Bay to hang out with some kids up there, which will be fantastic as well. And I think that's going to continue to organically grow itself. And maybe I think in a year or so, or maybe towards the back end of this year, starting to look at some opportunities for us to take this team abroad. You know, maybe that's to the US, maybe that's out to Asia, and really give kids a wonderful basketball experience as well as opportunity. I think that's awesome.
And how much are you personally enjoying this blank canvas, I guess? You come in with the remit to grow the game and to get as many people involved, and you spent a lot of time in the car in the last year.
I've chalked up the kilometres. I've seen, like I said, as a transplant, I've probably seen more of South East Queensland than I certainly expected. But I love it. I wouldn't change it. I think it's really rare to have a blank canvas in basketball. I really do. I think there's always someone that's come before you or someone that's coming after you. But the other thing I think is really rare is to have a blank canvas with lots of support. And I think that this doesn't happen without that either. You know, having the support of Mal, having the support of our pro team and the coaching staff, that helps be able to paint better. You know, you've got some guidelines and some guidance and some pathway there that you can lean into. But yeah, look, it's fantastic. I love what I do. I'm fortunate to do what I do, but I'm fortunate that there's people that want to come and do it with me. And I think that's really important too.